Garry Marshall's greatest hits. Hollywood's elite spent Tuesday evening remembering a man who impacted their lives and entertained audiences for generations. Director and producer Garry Marshall's body of work spans 6 decades with hits peppered throughout like scenic stops on a road trip. Marshall, a guy whose schmaltzy, feel-good stories earned him few fans among the critics, created TV series and movies that launched stars and brought families together. Here are some of his most memorable projects. The Odd Couple 1970-75. Marshall's first project for television seems now like a classic story. Two polar opposite people stuck in a situation from which neither know exactly how to escape. But it's only classic because Marshall's story about unkempt Oscar Jack Klugman and perpetually put together Felix Tony Randall popped off the TV sets and ingrained itself into pop culture. Read MoreA's new version of the show, starring Matthew Perry and Thomas Lennon, airs on CBS. Happy Days 1974. 80 for the journey Happy Days took to get from script to small screen was rocky. It once had a different name and no Fonzie. The second of 2 pilots had 3 scripts, and at one point, emerging star Ron Howard wasn't certain he wanted to stick out the show's rough start. But the stars, both cosmic and Hollywood, eventually aligned for this 50s set coming-of-age tale that weaved heartfelt stories and colorful comedy. The series went on to have 11 seasons, set in motion the careers of Winkler and MoreA, and bred 7 spin-offs including Laverne and Shirley, Mork Mindy and Joanie Loves Chachi. Beaches 1988. This dramatic tale, a lifelong friendship between 2 women, didn't win any Oscars, but hold a place in the tear-jerker Hall of Fame. It was also a scene-setter, of sorts, for many of the projects that would come from Marshall down the line. There were strong female characters played by Bette Midler and Barbara Hershey, powerful emotional notes and a poignant end. Its soundtrack was also anchored by Wine Beneath My Wings, the song that won Midler 2 Grammy Awards. Pretty Woman 1990. This rom-com is less of a movie and more like a piece of history. It was not only Marshall's highest-grossing film ever, but it marked the start of a decades-long professional relationship between the director and star Julia Roberts. They went on to make Runaway Bride and Mother's Day together. Not including it here would be a big mistake. Huge. Princess Diaries 2001. Young Anne Hathaway had only appeared in a sitcom before Marshall picked her to play outcast-turned-princess, missing in action Thermopolis. Fluffy as the premise was, the whimsical air it carried made it one of Marshall's most charming movies, and introduced his work to a new generation of young moviegoers. Marshall and Hathaway teamed up for a sequel in 2004, and had reportedly been talking about a third before his death. Valentine's Day/New Year's Eve/Mother's Day 2010-16. Marshall's penchant for holiday-pegged movies was always motivated by something greater. While promoting Mother's Day, for example, Marshall said he set out to tell a story about how mothers have it tough, more than a story about the day itself. These projects later in his life also allowed him to do what he loved most, work with great actors. Because these films required such a small time commitment from the cast, Marshall was able to book big-name stars and give them, he once said, a different kind of filmmaking experience. He wouldn't ask them to fly or work with a green screen. He just wanted them to opt with other actors. That, it seems, was always enough.